everyone, I'm Colleen Tappy. I'm back for another live stream brought to you by Princess Sentinel Staffing. So glad everyone could make it and be here with me today on this really pretty, gorgeous, kind of warm here hump day. So I hope it's lovely and beautiful and bright wherever it is you are and wherever you're watching this stream. So glad that you could be here with me. So we're going to jump right into today's topic. Oh, hello, Ralph. Hi. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about time management, and I'm going to be giving you some hacks on how to manage your time wisely, okay, and how to really get the most out of your time, okay? So, first let's start off by talking about what is time management. Essentially, time management is the ability to coordinate and organize your time in a productive way, okay? Being able to use your time in a very productive way, because you only have a limited amount of time and once you spend it, you can't get it back. So we want to make sure, in today's workforce, it's really, really important to have time management skills, and we want to make sure that we're using our time wisely and spending it wisely. So we're going to be talking about some time management hacks for hiring managers. So real quick, I just kind of want to talk about how I kind of view time management. This is kind of a personal view of time management. I like to think of it as money. So sometimes so if you think of time kind of like money, sometimes you have to spend a little bit more to get a little bit more. Sometimes you have to spend a little bit more and it's an investment. And sometimes you only want to spend a certain amount on a certain task. Okay. That's kind of how I think of time management. I think of it a little bit like money. Sometimes it's worth spending a little bit more, and sometimes you really only want to spend a little bit less. Okay. And we'll be kind of going back and forth with that kind of analogy. Hopefully that's helpful to you. So we'll be kind of going back and forth with that analogy as we go through these hacks. Okay, so hack number one: resist the temptation to multitask. It is such a temptation, isn't it, to multitask and try to get several things done at a time. And if you're like most hiring managers, you ask a lot of the times in interviews, you will ask your applicants, your candidates, about their ability to multitask. And multitasking is definitely a great skill to have, but it's not the answer to everything. As a matter of fact, I did a video probably about a month ago. It's available on the Facebook platform. So if you go on Facebook to Princess Dental Staffing's page and you look at their videos, there's one that I did not too long ago. It was front office and multitask. And we talked about how there's a good way to multitask and there's a bad way to multitask. And if you're not multitasking correctly, you can end up feeling overwhelmed and overburdened, and we definitely don't want that. So there's definitely a right way to multitask, but it's not the answer to everything. Okay, so resisting the temptation to multitask can actually result in a higher quality of work. So that's kind of where that time management hack comes in, right? So it's like, oh, Colleen, if we're only doing one task at a time, then how are we saving time? Well, because you don't have to go back and do the task again. And that's why. So when you multitask, you tend to have a lower quality of work when you complete your tasks. So with that lower quality of work, a lot of times you have to go back and redo certain things, or may have to redo the entire task all over again. And that's going to spend more time. So this is definitely one area where you want to spend a little bit more of that time and consider it spending more now to not have to spend more later, sort of kind of, idea, okay? And interestingly enough, a study conducted by the University of London shows multitasking actually lowers IQ. So, again, resist the temptation to multitask in those areas where it's just not going to be very productive and a very good spending of your time, okay? Time management is money. Interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, it's kind of similar. I mean, you can always get more money, but you definitely can't get more time. So if you think about, I like to think about time as only having a specific amount of money each day. Okay, so that's kind of how I think about it. Okay. Multitasking isn't my strong suit. Yeah. I've definitely learned some skills. I've learned how to multitask, but I definitely try to stay away from it if I absolutely can, because some things just deserve your undivided attention. Okay. I like your advice on multitasking. Very useful. So glad that you like it. Like I said, be sure to check out that video on Facebook if you want to learn about the correct ways to multitask and when it's appropriate to multitask. Okay. So Time management hack number 2, delegate work to others as appropriate. So, like most hiring managers in dental offices, you're definitely swamped with work. And, there's no shame in delegating tasks to other people. I know it can be kind of difficult to delegate your tasks to other people. Especially if you're very particular and you want them done a certain way. But there's absolutely no shame in delegating your work. And it actually is a great time management hack, okay? As a matter of fact, the Harvard Business Review insists that delegation is an essential business skill. You can't get everything done by yourself. So it's a great opportunity to delegate those tasks to other personnel, and it's a great way to actually develop your employees as well, giving them certain tasks and helping them learn certain things. That's a great way to help them develop in their career and in their job skills. Okay, so for example, let's take for example. So if you're a dental hiring manager, let's take for example, outreach efforts. If you're trying to hire if you've got another posting open or a job opening and you're trying to hire for that position, it will free up some space to kind of delegate some of those tasks, like maybe creating those online job postings, or some preliminary resume reviews and things like that. You can delegate that to other people, and that will free up your time to kind of review some of those resumes and cover letters in depth, right? Because we all know, if you're a dental hiring manager, reviewing those resumes, reviewing those cover letters, man, it takes a long time. I was a human resources specialist for 11 years, mostly in recruiting and onboarding and selection and all those sorts of things. And if you have 20 applicants, all with a 2-page resume and a 1-page cover letter, that's 60 pages worth of information that you have to go through. So delegating those tasks can really help kind of narrow down the amount of time that you have to invest in those certain areas. Okay. So another thing, like I said earlier, when you delegate those tasks to your employees, again, it helps develop them, in their field, and it helps them practice some more of those skills. And what's a really great thing, especially if you're a manager or supervisor, really anywhere, what you really want to do is make sure that the skills and the experience of your team. And so even if, so let's say you have a team member who has a background in a certain area, and even though they're not really using that area right now, it's a good thing to know for future, just in case you want them to, unless you want to, like if you want to delegate something to someone, you already know who has the experience where and who can kind of get it done quicker. Okay, if that makes sense. So, sorry, just reading some of the comments here. Thanks for providing that link to the YouTube video, Ralph. I thought I only did it on Facebook, but I guess I uploaded it to YouTube as well. So thanks for providing that. My hygienist always asked for help with taking x-rays when assistants were constantly busy with the doctor. So always help for taking it. Oh, yeah. So you're talking a little bit about delegation. Yeah. So if you're a little bit overwhelmed, it's great teamwork, right? To be able to help each other out, right? Delegating tasks sounds so good on paper, harder to do in real life. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely hard to do in real life. I suggest doing it a little bit at a time, small little items here and there at a time. And that way you get a little bit more used to it and can monitor those projects as they're getting done, Okay. So let's move on to time management hack number 3. This is the last one. Be proactive with detailed calendaring and scheduling. So some dental office hiring managers, a lot of the times, like if they have meetings or interviews or things like that, a lot of them, there's still a lot of them out there that like to kind of keep that information in their head, or they write it down on scraps of paper. I am notorious for Post-it notes, you guys. I could not survive without Post-it notes. I will write kind of stuff down and kind of stick it on my computer screen. I'm so bad about that. But now we have a lot of other applications and software that can really help us with that, right? That makes it a little bit more organized and a little bit easier to kind of manage your calendar and not miss certain things, right? So, if you don't want to get too technical, you can use Google Calendar. Google Calendar is a great option to kind of help manage your calendar. In addition, there are other online software applications for like project management. So there's tons of them out there, Airtable, Trello, Monday.com. There's tons and tons of project management software applications out there. And a lot of them have free options that can meet all of your needs. So I definitely recommend, if you want to get a little bit more technical with it, you can check some of those out as well. And it can really be helpful with coordinating different appointments and projects and things of that nature. Okay. So this is another area where you can kind of spend a little bit more money now and kind of consider it an investment, right? Because it takes time to kind of set up your calendar and create your calendar and all those sorts of things. But if you spend a little bit more time now, then you don't have to play catch up later with those things that kind of slip through the cracks or that you forgot about, right? Because eventually you're definitely going to get knocked off course if you don't have a tight calendar or schedule, taken care of and squared away, right? So in addition, another great way to kind of manage your calendar is to kind of block out an area or some time to respond to people, right? So to respond to voicemails, emails, employee questions and those sorts of things. If you carve out time to do that and to focus solely on that, again, we're unitasking, right? Not multitasking, and we are concentrating our efforts on one specific area. Okay, so that's going to help you. Again, time management is going to help you spend a little bit more now, and you don't have to spend as much later, right? So those are my time management hacks for you. Let me read through some of these comments. Let's see. Is it ever okay to say no because you're overwhelmed? So that is a great question. So if somebody's trying to delegate something to you and you're like, hey, I don't have time right now. Like if you just don't have time right now, there is a very polite way to say, I actually don't have time for that right now. Or you can also say, what I normally do, if somebody's asking me to do something and my plate is just overwhelmed, I say, well, I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now. Can I get to that tomorrow? Or can I get to that next week? And if they say no, then they say, okay, well, I'm really sorry. I've got a lot to do right now. And if you're talking to a manager, so if it's a supervisor that's speaking with you and saying, hey, I need you to get this done, you can actually tell them, okay, well, I've got A, B, and C to complete. And I've got, that's going to take some time. Do you want me to prioritize this above other things, and have it be the supervisor's decision, so you can also do that as well. Breaking delegation into small steps, great idea. Yeah, especially, I'm definitely that type of person. I like things done a specific way. So it is really hard for me to delegate things to other people, but it does help in the long run. So if you start small, you kind of get used to the idea a little bit more. Well, if scheduling, so hard to keep to a schedule when unexpected interruptions come up. Yeah, absolutely. If somebody comes in your office real quick and says, hey, I need you to help me with something really quick, or if you have a phone call that takes, a little bit longer than you expected, yeah, those interruptions are going to come up. And that would be kind of a great time to just kind of put something down and attend to what you need to attend to. Or the other option is, again, oh, I'm actually working on something right now. Can I come see you in 10 minutes or something like that? Okay. So that's one way that you can handle that. Blocking out time on my calendar for one area, another great hack. Yeah, absolutely. Really allows you to dedicate specific time to one task. Okay. That communication of no can really be tricky. Yeah. So you don't actually necessarily have to say no specifically, but you can say, you can offer another option, and that's kind of, you can offer another option. So I'm sorry, I can't get to that right now, but can I get to it in 20 minutes or in an hour, or can I get to it tomorrow? Or you can also trade off too. That might be another option. So if a coworker says, hey, can you handle this? I'm kind of busy with this right now. Do you think you can help me out with this? And that way you can kind of trade off. So that might be another option as well. Yeah. Yes, it can really when a doctor is requesting it. Yeah. So So are there any time management hacks that you guys use? Absolutely, please do comment on these videos and please share your knowledge with everyone else. So if you have any other time management hacks that you use and that you found really, really helpful, absolutely comment on this video. If you found this information helpful, if you really enjoyed these live streams, please do drop us a like and subscribe to our channel, like our page, and all those sorts of things. And that way, you won't have to miss out on next week's stream. Okay. And of course, and again, these streams come to you every Wednesday, noon Mountain Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, and 11 a.m. Pacific. Okay. So that will do it for me today, everyone. So thank you so much for tuning in today and for being here with me. And if you weren't here live, I'm so glad you got to watch this video later. Again, please do comment and add some more time management hacks. That can really help other people out. So have a great day. Have a great week, everyone. And I will see, you're welcome for the tips, Deanna. Hopefully I said that correctly. So I will see you next week with another live stream and another great topic that we're going to cover. Everyone have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.